welcome back to Fan Corner, your favorite nerdy, unhinged podcast. I am so proud of myself that I remembered that.
I'm so proud of you. It's been a minute.
It has been a minute. We were moving, so this is a new space.
Yeah. By we, Rachel was moving.
Yeah.
I did not move.
Well, so the home base of the
podcast moved.
Kind of the same thing. This is not where it's going to be. Like
this is a temp spot.
Yeah, it's in the general location, but not, anyway. It's going to be cute. You guys are going to love it. We have scheduled dates for our new episodes coming out. Mm-hmm. We're serious business. We are such serious business. We almost died of the flu, but we made it through.
We made it. We're here.
I keep royal weeing us for some reason.
Hey, I don't mind. It's okay. I like being included.
So before we get into today's episode, which we're going to be talking about Harry Potter, the things the movie chose like different artistic choices on the books. Mm-hmm. And we're going to talk about like how it changes like the characters.
Yeah.
But before we get into that, what's your high?
My high is that I went and saw Swan Lake, the ballet.
That's amazing.
My brother. Yeah. You know, I have always enjoyed watching the ballet. I wanted to take ballet classes as a kid and didn't get to. And so I just love to admire the beautiful dance, you know?
Swan Lake's my favorite.
It's a really good one. The music is so good.
Yeah, I actually legit get down to it all the time. It's fine.
Oh, dude, that's awesome.
like I'm like, oh, today's a Tchaikovsky day. It's fine.
Yes. No, for real. It's funny because I recognized it was a Tchaikovsky piece because there's some elements where I'm like, this is a Nutcracker as well, you know? And yeah, so I got to go with my brother and it was really nice to do something for the arts. You know what I mean? Support the arts.
I feel like that needed like sparkle emojis around it.
If we somehow were able to do effects, just like the arts.
Yeah, too much effort.
Too much effort.
Use your imagination.
Yeah. What is your high, Rachel?
My high is we have a functioning mic here on the podcast now. Not a fake mic. Not one we put in the shots so it looks good. Which is ironic because this one's not in the shot.
It's not in the shot, but it's okay.
But it is functioning.
It is functioning.
So hopefully that means our sound quality is better. This is going to be so funny. I'm like going to go to listen to it and it's going to be shit. Like something's going to have happened in the last 5 minutes. But Brian, in theory, fixed it. Like, I don't know if you all remember, but we were having like this weird thing where it was like turning us into beatboxers.
Yeah, I feel like we've mentioned that before. It was really weird. It was like, oh, you want a podcast? How about you rap instead?
It was so strange. So we were just using our phone audio because I was like, I bought different adapters. I was like, I don't know what's going on. Mm-hmm. Anyway, we tried different mics. I don't know how he fixed it. And literally he did nothing. He did what we did.
He did the exact same thing. And then it was perfectly working. And we're like, okay.
Maybe there was a software update.
Maybe.
And maybe he just happened upon it. Do you know what I mean?
Maybe, I don't know.
It was luck.
Anyway,
but either way, we have a mic. We're so legit. We're gonna have to start like doing headphones for real. It's gonna be a whole thing.
We're excited to keep making more podcast episodes now that the move is done and you know all these things. So, but it's been a minute since you've heard from us.
What's your mid?
Dude, my mid. This is a year I sadly have to renew my driver's license. Ew. And I got the little notice.
So much adulting.
It really is. And I got the notice in the mail and they were like, yeah, you're not eligible to just renew and pay online. You have to come in and take a new photo. And I was like, bitch.
Yeah, that's awful. I lost mine a few years ago, so I already had to go in and take a new photo. So
yeah.
I guess there's that for me. I got a long time.
Yeah, so I scheduled it for like...
They're the worst photos, too.
No, they're so ugly. Like, it doesn't matter. You're never that good.
So I think part of the problem is, at least for ours, and I've seen these in like photo booths and stuff, you know, it does the countdown. 3, 2, 1. But it doesn't take it when you think it's taking it. It's actually on delay.
Yeah.
And so you kind of like... You're like, wait, is it? And then it takes it.
And then it's like so
great.
Ugly. And you're like, cool, thank you.
Thank you so much. Although, okay, so I have heard, well, okay, I have seen on TikTok that a lot of girls, like, they're like, you know, they'd go to get their passport photos or whatever, and they'd like do a look or whatever.
Yeah.
And like it can cause problems later where they're like, this isn't you, because like on a travel day, you're not,
you know, looking your best.
And the whole thing. And I laughed so hard. So at least like don't do that. You don't like try less hard.
Yeah. No, I get that.
I mean?
Yeah, because I had to get my passport renewed literally during the pandemic, and I was like, well, it's not going to take a million years because no one's going anywhere, you know. And so I had to get a new photo for that one too, and I intentionally only wore mascara, and they don't want you smiling in these like official photos
Which
either.
is so weird. We used to be allowed to smile in them.
Yeah.
Because mine have smiles, and I have heard that has changed.
Yeah, so now no smiling. And I'm like, cool, so you want me to look like...
You want me to look like a serial killer?
I was about to say serial killer, too.
I'm sure that's going to make the Border Patrol much easier to deal with.
They're going to be like,
it's fine.
You're a sus motherfucker.
I feel like I'm going to like be trying to smile with like my cheeks.
Oh yeah, no. Intentionally get your cheeks like rosy.
And then you're just going to look like a rabid chipmunk.
You're going to just look like you're dead inside with puffy cheeks.
It's going to be so bad.
So what's your mid, Rachel?
Okay, so my mid is my stupid ass boyfriend, okay?
Who we just praised for fixing the mic, but now he's stupid.
He gets to be stupid sometimes.
Yeah, no.
He is a man, okay? Yeah. He was like, we should watch Dune. He's obsessed with Dune. He was like, you don't have to if you don't want to, whatever, but like, let's watch Dune.
Yeah.
He loved the first one, so we watched it together, and then if I liked it, we were gonna go see the second. And I was kind of like mid on it, but I was like, okay. Like, I could see why he liked it. The sci-fi elements, different things. Because it's kind of like sci-fi fantasy.
Yeah, I've never watched or read them, so...
Don't.
Yeah, I have no desire, really.
So I didn't, because I was like, okay, it was written by a man in the 70s. Yeah. No fucking way, it's good. Guess what, bitches? I was right, okay? Because then I went and saw it in the movie, and yeah, is it beautiful? Sure. But like, the main character, so the directors come out. If you've not seen Dune, just fast forward, like, 2 minutes. Yeah. But the directors come out, and he has said, you know, because the author used to say, the main character is not the good guy.
Okay.
Paul.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of
Chalamet's character.
Yes.
Okay.
It's kind of like Space Jesus.
Huh?
Yeah. So pretty much, literally, most of the shots. I'm gonna have to send you a compilation because it's so fucking funny. They look like they were taken from like a Jesus Christ movie. Like The Chosen or something. Yeah. They literally look like, because of that, where they are and stuff, it literally looks like it was taken from The Chosen. Huh. And he has like kind of that vibe. And then, and it's all about like the Messiah and whatever. And I've seen some funny memes about it.
Yeah.
But like, it's so serious for no reason. And, you know, I love a Chosen One story. Like, that's not my beef. But apparently the author has been like, no, this was a cautionary tale of like people rising to power in evil ways and how they're given that power and blah, 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 blah. And the director has said that the good guys are supposed to be his mother and Zendaya. But his mother does not come off good at all. I was like, well, then you fucked up at your job. That was literally what I said.
I was like, your one job.
Yeah, I was like, okay, if that's what you were going for, my bro, you did not hit it at all. Okay? Like, I give women a lot of grace, and I was like, fuck this bitch. Like, there's just no way. And it's just so evil. And so I got to the end of it, because my role in media, you know, is do I feel like this made me a better person? And that can be even slightly. Like, you can be made a better person by a sitcom. If it made you think about anything or whatever. I actively think this makes people worse people. There's not a single good theme in this movie. And I have actually heard it gets worse in the later books.
Okay.
His future children will be like worm babies.
What? I have no context, but that just sounds so fucked up.
It is fucked up. No, it is.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, everyone's like, oh, it was Lord of the Rings, then Star Wars, now Dune. I'm like, literally, be so serious. Be so serious. It's like anytime there's an action, actually, okay, props to Brian. He said this. He was very disappointed after the second one.
Okay.
Because it kind of looked like maybe they were headed somewhere cool after the first one. But after the second one, he was like, I'm so upset. So that was kind of poor guy. But he actually said this, not me, so I can't take credit. But he was like, you know what? Actually, I don't remember what he was like. I don't remember at all. I completely lost the plot.
Your changes left the station without you?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
I started thinking about what I was going to talk about next.
Yeah.
And so then it was just...
It's like, train wreck.
It was completely gone.
Hey, it's okay. If it comes back, well, we can mention it.
It's not that serious.
It's okay.
Hello.
So, fun part of now recording the way we are is that the cats can easily come and be in the shots. So one of
not
the cats,
just like blocking the entire screen.
Not being like, "Ayo, I'm gonna sit right in front of your camera." You know
that happens every episode, at least 10 times.
Yeah. Seriously.
So really, this is just a cat cam.
It really is.
Are people watching for us or for the cats?
The cats.
Totally. Although we don't have a lot of watchers, which I'm fine with.
That's okay.
Because we mostly do it so we have the content for TikTok.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Let's get into the main thing.
So like Rachel said earlier, we're going to be talking about changes that the Harry Potter movies made that, like, whether it be creative choices or things, that weren't in the books that we think enhance the experience.
Yeah.
Whether good or bad.
Yeah, and so we're going to dive into, like, each version, book version, regular version, kind of talk about how it impacts things.
Totally.
So first up, okay, we're going to go with the classic, okay?
Yeah.
The one the entire fandom is obsessed with. In Goblet of Fire, Dumbledore asks calmly, did you put your name into the Goblet of Fire, Harry? In the book, did you put your name into the Goblet of Fire?
When we were making our outline for this, Rachel was like, wait, we forgot the most important one. And she like screamed this at me, and it was so funny. I'm like, duh, how did we forget the most iconic thing that everyone talks about?
I think the episode was kind of like made around it, and then we forgot it, which was even funnier.
Yeah, no.
Okay, so we'll have you go first.
Yeah.
Talk about the differences. Do you like it? What do you think of the difference in this interpretation? Actually, that's not even an interpretation. That's just like a straight deviation.
No, straight deviation. No, for real. I feel like over the years I've kind of like flip-flopped, on how I feel about it, whether I like the book one or the movie more. And I think there's pros and cons to both. And so like with it being said calmly, I think it's, in essence, I feel like it's more of a trying to be a personal moment, like I'm trying to trust you and understand like what did you do this, right? Versus like being like, did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire? It's a understandable reaction to something very extreme that happened that like shouldn't have happened. And so it's like, how the fuck did this happen? And so I think that definitely has more impact, because it's like, if Dumbledore's freaking out about it, we're gonna freak out about it. Like, why did this happen to Harry? If that makes sense.
No, it makes sense. I think I'm maybe the only fan that likes the change. I think he said calmly, that's the Dumbledore that's very calculated. That's the Dumbledore that a lot in the fandom, I think, hated. Because, I see what you're saying. Like, maybe it could be that he's trying to be nice to Harry in the moment or whatever. But I don't think that's what it is. I think it's coming from this calculated place of, did you do this? And, like, he's just thinking things through. Whereas I feel like the outburst actually showed an emotional level of caring for Harry. Because if Harry didn't put his name, which obviously he didn't. But if he didn't put his name into the Goblet of Fire, then that means something really bad is happening. Like, Harry's part of something bad. And so that anger, that fear, like, I feel like it's his fear.
No,
really
100%.
Coming through. And I think that that's beautiful to see from Dumbledore. I think it shows love for Harry much more than than we often see in the books themselves. And so I think it actually fundamentally changes that balance on Dumbledore's good or evil, like, because he is a gray character. I think it changes the balance to have that highlighted like that. And it makes it more painful than because obviously we see Pobbs we don't see in the movie because the books are first person, but then when we see Dumbledore in the Pensieve and he's saying, let's put him, I'm not going to interfere, because McGonagall wants him to interfere, and he's like, I'm not going to interfere, we're going to see what's happened. We're going to see what's happening so we can kind of get to the bottom of things. And so he's using Harry as bait, but it seems so much more tortured and like he's doing a thing because he thinks it's the strategic right move, but he seems upset by it. Versus like, I feel like book Dumbledore, obviously we see his guilt eventually when he's dead. But like, I think book Dumbledore has a lot more confidence and has a lot less guilt pre-death about some of the things he's doing.
100%. And like also in the book, we like you mentioned, we don't see a lot of emotion from Dumbledore. He's very stoic and very saving face is the wrong I think it's the wrong phrase, but like, you know, we don't see much emotion from him. So it's
I think it's because he's not vulnerable.
Yeah.
This was a more vulnerable choice.
Yeah. And I think that's why the movie version was more impactful, because it breaks what we've seen of Dumbledore being the stoic character. And it's like, oh, he's upset because he genuinely cares.
Yeah.
And it makes us believe that Dumbledore cares because we're seeing that happen.
Yeah, we're seeing a physical manifestation.
Yes, and we're seeing that happen before we get the flashbacks in Deathly Hallows.
Yeah.
And like their conversations.
You know, it's ironic. I actually think the flashbacks make Dumbledore look worse.
Yeah, that's valid.
They do a lot to like round out Severus, but they make Dumbledore, in my mind, look worlds worse. Mm-hmm. You know, raising him like the big for the slaughter, whatever. Like, oh yeah, those are hard scenes where Dumbledore doesn't seem to have a lot of guilt.
Yeah.
In either version.
No, seriously.
So.
Yeah. No, that makes complete sense.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's our hot take. We like it.
We love
Come
it.
at us in the comments. I would love it. Please do.
We love to have discourse, you know.
Yeah.
Let's talk about things.
As long as you don't call me... Actually, you know what? Call me mean names. I don't care.
No, don't do that. I'll come for you. I'll appear out of from my own personal accounts and be like, what? You don't say that to my friend.
It is so funny though, because I call my friends, like, I'll be like, yo, bitch, what are we doing today?
I mean, a lot of people do that. We're like, yo, bitch. But
Yeah,
I'm like, I call everyone a hoe, you know? But like,
yeah, it's a different thing. Anyway, it's fine. Okay, so moving on.
Yeah.
So this one's a little less fun. Okay, we're gonna get dark, we're gonna get twisty, because Harry Potter's a dark series. Mm-hmm. What up? So in Half-Blood Prince, they changed something very fundamental. In the book, Harry is put under Perfectus Totalis by Dumbledore, and he's under his invisibility cloak, which is why he cannot interfere during the scene with the Death Eaters interacting with Dumbledore and eventually killing him.
Right.
Harry can physically not do anything until Dumbledore dies. That breaks the spell and he's able to move again. Mm-hmm. In the book, Dumbledore looks at him very intensely and says, remember you said you would do anything I asked. Go below and don't do a thing. Mm-hmm. Don't come out. And Harry's not put under a spell at all.
In the book?
No, in the movie.
Okay, I thought you said like...
Sorry.
Okay.
I might have fucked that up.
You might have switched it up.
I might have switched up. So book, he's put under a spell. Movie, they did not put him under a spell.
Yeah, he could...
Harry is just down there.
And he can
underneath,
see the whole thing.
And he just sees the whole thing, but he has full capability of his body. Mm-hmm. Okay? There's a lot of thoughts. I have changed my opinion as I have thought longer on it, personally, over the years. But I'm interested. What do you think of this change? Because it affects Harry's character dramatically.
No, dramatically. I actually really like it. I think it feeds off a bit of what we were talking about before with Dumbledore being really stoic and not showing emotion, like, you know, freely. And I think him giving Harry the choice to do something if he wanted to, by not casting
Petrificus Totalis. Woo! We know the word!
That's so much
harder. We just can't say the word.
That's so much harder than it
Written
should be.
tests only.
Yeah, no. I think it's subtle, but I think it's a subtle way of being like, Harry can still make a choice. He doesn't have to intervene. He can watch things play out, but it's not like Dumbledore's forcing him to be like, you can't do anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it's an interesting one because I think when I first saw it and I was much younger, I mean, Harry, we're talking about a very Gryffindor kid.
Yes.
Like, he might as well be the fucking mascot bitch.
Right.
For Gryffindor. I remember being so angry because I was like, without that spell, Harry would have intervened. Because, I mean, this is something we see from Harry historically throughout the books. He's very reckless. He does anything to save people, whatever. So I was like, it doesn't make sense. Rewatching it, and with age, I actually think, and this is a very just key difference, I think, between Daniel Radcliffe's interpretation of Harry and Harry in the books. I think it's actually, there's something more really beautiful about the trust Harry has for Dumbledore in that moment, because I think he kind of thinks, up until the moment Dumbledore actually dies in the movie, I think he thinks Dumbledore actually has like an upper hand he doesn't know about.
Yeah.
I think it's just this blind trust, which I think then makes it more powerful that he feels betrayed by Dumbledore in the next movie because he's like, wait, what do you mean? Like, I trusted this man completely.
Yeah.
And all this stuff. And so I think it shows Harry's trust for Dumbledore in that moment. And I think that that's quite powerful. And then, to your point, I think it's a less evil version of Dumbledore because it's giving Harry bodily consent. Perfectus Totalis is a really dark spell, honestly.
It really is.
Like, that's one of those spells that should be dark magic. Ladies and gentlemen.
For real. I mean, first years, I just remember how they cast it on Neville in the first book. Yeah. Like, what the fuck?
Well, and if you think about it, like, how long must he have been like that before someone found him?
Seriously.
Like, if he had to pee, if he had to whatever, like, how trapped you would feel.
That's so traumatizing.
Absolutely.
You know? Yeah. No, I like what you were saying, too, about Harry's trust with Dumbledore because we're kind of shown... and like Harry's always been led to believe like Dumbledore is like top wizard.
Yeah, he's the only wizard that can beat Voldemort.
Yeah, and he always has something up his sleeve. He always like, is playing like 4D chess and knows like what's going on. So it makes sense that Harry would believe that he has something else planned.
Right.
And that he trusts him as he's grown to trust him throughout the books, Because it's not just like Harry's perception, expectations of Dumbledore, but also feeding from all these expectations and understandings from everyone around him.
Absolutely. Because everyone talks about that all the time, right? Have complete trust in Dumbledore.
Yeah.
And I think it makes that fall from grace for Dumbledore post-death more brutal.
Totally.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to lighten it up a bit. I know you're very relieved. It's fine.
You're like, oh my gosh, let's stop being depressing.
Can we not talk about people dying? It's fine. So in the Half-Blood Prince, same movie, they add a scene that does not exist in the movies where the boys are fighting over the advanced potion making book. Yes. Like just full body checking each other.
Like,
in the
I
back
want
of
the new one versus the old one.
And it's like completely quiet.
Yeah.
Just in the classroom.
Yeah. It's a funny, silly moment. I love so many random bits about that movie because Half-Blood Prince in general, like there's a lot of serious stuff that is like the prologue to the final book.
You mean Dumbledore dying is just a walk in the park?
Yeah, but there's so much setup, know, and so there's so much dark stuff going on, and so like those funny moments like that are a nice breath of relief. Yeah. And I feel like the sixth book has a good balance of humor as well as the dark things we're dealing with.
So it's interesting because that exact scene isn't in the movie or isn't in the book.
Yeah.
However, that's my favorite movie because I think it embodies the energy of Harry better than any of the other movies because I feel like they're all just too serious or too whatever. And like Harry's fucking funny.
He is funny. He's a goober.
His trauma made this man bitingly sassy. Oh yeah. Like just off the cuff, hilariously sassy. Just slices people to their core. Yeah. I'm here for it. We love
sassy Harry.
And so, we completely washed that away in the movies, except for the sixth movie. In the sixth movie, suddenly we have these moments again where we're seeing him really sassy and things. And so this, for me, actually was a great moment of like elevating the material. And I know there were different things that were done in the books to do the same thing.
Right.
But I think this was a good way of incorporating it in a scene that had to be there anyway.
Totally.
Which is fun.
Yeah, no, super fun. Yeah.
Okay, looking at time, we're gonna skip a few.
Oh my goodness.
Because we are over talkers.
Yeah, we are. Whee! I was like soft high five.
I know, I had the same moment. I panicked halfway through. I was like, it's gonna be too loud with our actual mic. Like, I'm gonna do, when we did the Dumbledore scream, it's gonna literally sound
it's gonna be like,
I'm gonna have to like be like, edit it down. Okay, so we're moving to Neville in the
Goblet of Fire.
In Goblet of Fire, it is Dobby who brings Harry gillyweed. But in the books, and actually let's throw in the Room of Requirement as well. Order of the Phoenix, it's Neville who discovers the Room of Requirement for Dumbledore's army. But in the books, it is Dobby's. So Neville kind of takes on these roles that originally Dobby, the house elf, has. What do you think of that?
I actually really like those changes. I don't want to diminish Dobby's importance, right? But I think it's really nice to get these moments of Neville not just being the goober kid that had a frog from the first book, right? That was just kind of trying to figure out himself, but we get these moments where we get to see him shine. And it makes sense that, like, oh, he becomes the herbology teacher post, you know, the war, and he has an interest in all these, you know, things. Yeah. And we see that in the context of the book. So it's kind of nice to see that, like, oh, hey, Harry, guess what? Gillyweed would help, you know? Yeah. And I feel like that's in character with Neville from the context of the book.
Well, so Neville did know that. Yeah. Because Mad-Eye Moody, fake Mad-Eye Moody, to be clear.
Hashtag fake news.
Fake news. Fake Mad-Eye Moody gave him that book. And Moody, when he's waxing poetic about his genius at the end, is like, oh, I had the answer right in front of you and you still weren't getting it. And so I had to send the elf, because, like, Neville knew the whole time. Yeah. The book was in the same room as Harry most of the time. Yeah. With Gillyweed. So at least it absolutely made sense for Neville.
Totally.
I agree. It gives Neville a lot more. It's interesting though, because it is frustrating in terms of, like, suddenly we get this very long, beautiful death scene for him in the last movie. And I feel like if you'd only seen the movies, it would be like, we had him a lot in the second one. It'd be kind of like, wait.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't be as, like, impactful, you know?
Yeah, you're like, why are we suddenly spending 1 million hours on this character?
Totally.
You know, because, like, I feel like you don't realize how involved Dobby is in Harry's life all the years.
Yeah, seriously. Like, because that's missing from the books. As far as, like, Neville being shown more in the movies, I also feel like it was a positive move because he does become a part of the core, like, group. Yeah. Of, you know, and so it's nice. It was a nice way to build that up in the movies to be like, okay, Neville's a part of this core group.
Where he's the other end of the prophecy. He could have been part of the prophecy. I think it was an important thing. I absolutely agree. I see what the directors were doing. And how are they going to know before the 7th book came out?
Yeah, because we didn't have the book at the time.
That Dobby was quite as integral as she was. So I do think it makes a lot of sense. But we can mourn Dobby.
Yeah, totally.
I think from a budget perspective, it makes sense, though. Dobby being as animated as he would be difficult. Yeah. You know, it's like, I think I saw a stat on it, but, like, numbers mean nothing to me, so I don't know. It's gone, but it was, like, a weird amount of money per scene that Dobby's in.
No, I mean, it makes sense, because he's CG. So.
Yeah, there's a lot going on with that little house elf.
Yeah, no. So, I mean, I think those were positive changes, but, you know, still miss the little guy.
Yeah, we can mourn too. It's fine.
Totally.
You know what I like to think about with it though? So not only does it give Neville more of moments and show his, like, kind of expertise or whatever have you, they kind of insinuate that he's the one, because he runs and gives it to Harry, that he's the one that stole the Gillyweed from Severus Snape's stores.
Dude.
Because Dobby does that. And so they insinuate that Neville stole that Gillyweed. And that's hardcore. Because he's scared of Snape.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah. So it's like, it's actually showing just this huge amount of, like, rebellious energy for Neville to have done that in the movie.
And, like, conquering, you know, a fear, like,
totally
feeling the fear and doing it
It's
anyway.
like, I'm saving someone's life, it's worth it.
It's worth it. Yeah. Like, I can go.
Well, I guess saving life is kind of over dramatic. Like, Harry could have just not swam, it's fine.
No, it's fair. But I mean, with how brutal they were told these games are, it's like, who knows what Harry could have been subjected to.
You didn't know what you were walking into. And then, obviously Harry thinks his friends are dying underwater.
I mean, I would have too, to be honest.
That's the most fucked up I think about it all the time. Anyway, it's fine.
No,
it's fine!
Dude, I remember reading that book in, like, 5th grade and being like, why would they kill his friends? Like, I thought they would kill his friends.
I mean, with everything they had said, I could see why people would think that. I mean, I did too. And then also, it's like, I think it's so unfair to Fleur.
Totally.
I don't care if it's his family, his found family, whatever, for Harry. That being her little sister, and such a young girl, young witch, to be under the water like that. I mean, I can't, like, that's why Fleur fumbled.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, sexist. Anyway, it's fine. We're moving on.
We are going to move on.
Okay. All right, so this one. Okay, this one's we're going to need time for. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Prepare yourself. I don't know what that was.
It was a moment.
I see so many memes about this. I feel like this is the other moment besides the Goblet of Fire. The Elder Wand. What we do with it at the end. Okay? Movie version. Harry's like, snap. throw.
Yeet.
Okay? In the books, Harry has the Elder Wand. Ron's still a little bitch and wants to keep it. That part remains the same. You know how we feel about Ron.
Because I'm like, that makes
it checks out.
It checks, but I hate it.
I hate it so much. Anyway, so that's the same. But Harry declares, like, we don't see it happen, but he declares that he fixes his own wand. Mm-hmm. So he repairs his own wand, because it was probably, if anything was going to work, that was probably it.
Yeah.
Because he knew that wand was, like, excellent for him, whatever.
Yeah.
And then he decides, he tells Dumbledore's portrait and Ron and Hermione he's going to put it back where it should rest, so with Dumbledore. And it's mentioned that as long as Harry's not defeated in battle, mm-hmm. the true master of the wand dies of a natural death, which, you know, Harry's, I don't know, 18, 19?
Yeah, 18.
Age is irrelevant. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
He's young, right? He has 60 years left. If not more. Like, Dumbledore lived for forever.
Yeah.
That could be because he had the Elder Wand, though. Anyway, don't know.
Dude, that'd be a fun theory for another day. Dude, what?
I bet that is why he lived so long, even for a wizard.
Totally.
Because it's Death's wand.
Shut up.
Come into conclusions. We probably should have known that. You're all probably like, yeah, guys. It's fine.
No, anyway, that was a fun thing to come to.
It totally was. Like, we both were like, wait. I just had never thought about it before. It's like,
neither.
yeah, of course Dumbledore lived forever. He's Dumbledore.
Yeah, it's like yeah, sure, because he's Dumbledore. TM. Like, whatever.
TM. So I guess, what do you think of this? Oh, he says because Harry will die of a natural death.
Yeah.
The wand will have no master. The power will break when Harry does naturally die. So I want to reemphasize, the wand is still powerful until Harry naturally, which is an assumption, dies.
Yes.
Okay, so what do we think of this change?
Yeah, so...
a lot to unpack there.
Dude, there's so much to unpack this here. I, even in my notes, was like, all in bold, I'm like, what do we think about this? Let's talk about it. Because I remember visually seeing it in the movie, it seemed... at least from my perception, it's been a minute since I've watched the final movie, but I remember seeing Harry do that and it just felt very underwhelming.
Yeah.
You know, from that kind of standpoint, it's kind of like, oh, break, yeet. And I'm like, huh? What are we doing? You know? And I like the symbolicness of in the books of putting it back with Dumbledore. That feels like a sign of reverence. Like, I like how that is symbolically. However,
because he's forgiven Dumbledore,
he's forgiven Dumbledore and stuff. However, when we were looking at the last chapter for this, the last line of the book says, Harry says, "I've had enough trouble for a lifetime."
Yeah.
And we were thinking and talking about it a little bit, and I was thinking, like, you know, enough trouble for a lifetime. So why would we let the wand exist?
Yeah, it's such an interesting issue because we don't know for sure how many people Voldemort told about this quest to.
Yeah. We have
like,
no
how
idea.
many of his upper echelon, Ollivander certainly knew different things. So it's like, how many people knew that he was looking for the Elder Wand? And if anyone were to dig into this, they could probably also figure it out. So it laying with Dumbledore very easily could be a fucking problem, bitch.
Yeah, no, seriously. So in that regard, I like that Harry broke it, because then it's done.
Yeah.
No one can abuse that power again, because we don't need a third wizarding war.
So how do you feel about him not repairing his wand, though, first? Because I know a lot of people have issue with that.
Oh, yeah, I forgot he didn't do that in the movie.
Yeah.
That makes me a little sad.
Yeah, and I think that's why people crack jokes about it all the time, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so...
But also, like, symbolically, I'm kind of just, like, thinking this on the fly. But I'm thinking maybe also him in the movie not fixing his own wand and breaking the Elder Wand is kind of like closing a chapter on this part of his life, a symbolic...
I agree! You know? Shut the fuck up. And no one's going to agree with this. It's fine. That's what I was thinking. Okay. I think it's so beautiful because it's like, do I get why we all want him to fix his wand? Yes.
100%.
Like, instinctually.
But it's a way to have a fresh start with a wand that's not tied
to Voldemort. Because literally they have the twin cores in those original wands. And I think that there's a lot of negativity there. I'm
getting goosebumps thinking about this.
I think movie Harry... because I think there are slightly different interpretations. I think he thinks it would be evil to use the wand for anything. Because that's using the wand for personal gain.
Totally.
And I think movie Harry would view that as an injustice.
Yeah.
So I think it's like a closing, and it's also like a, you know what, this would be wrong kind of thing.
Totally.
Do you know? And so I just feel like, and I also think, okay, so in the 7th book, I've been rereading that right now. There's so much of Harry talking about, because his wand acts of its own accord quite often to save his life against Voldemort, even when Voldemort's using different wands. Yeah. And so it's a very personified, very much alive wand. I remember Ron and Hermione, I mean everyone, but specifically them, like being like, that didn't happen, like you're just like diminishing yourself as a wizard, like whatever. Which I felt so bad for Harry, because like no one ever believes him about anything he's going through. Like people just do not believe him, and I can't imagine the pain of that. Like I get why your friends would want to hype you and be like, take ownership, are you rocking? Like you're a queen. But also and so I feel like, and so we see him like go through this grieving process with the wand when it breaks, because in his mind he was like, this was the only thing I had going for me. This wand for some reason is super duper magical and saves my ass all the time. I should have died at the very beginning when they left Privet Drive. I should have fucking died. And I guess I think it's almost growth, because he has learned he doesn't need it. Like I think it was a security thing when he felt so unsafe.
It was like a crutch for sure.
He needed that wand because he felt so incredibly unsafe in this world, and that was one of the only things standing between him and death. And so I think for him to realize he doesn't need that, it's almost him coming into his own power in a much cooler way, and trusting himself as a wizard in a much cooler way. 100%. So I'm like super into it. I think the movie got this one dead on. Like the more you think about it, the more you're like, this was the fucking right choice.
Seriously.
Because yes, leaving with Dumbledore is asking for fucking problems, bitch.
Yeah, no. Like I said, symbolically, do love that. However, we don't need another Wizarding War.
I don't know that we should be opening up graves that often.
No, we shouldn't.
Feels like maybe not that fun.
Yeah, no, totally. Because even, like, he was buried with it in the 6th book, right? At the end. And, you know, Voldemort cracks it open. Ooh, yeah, that makes me feel icky.
It's too much. It's not icky. I think, and I just think using that wand for personal gain, the Death Stick, as one of its nicknames throughout history was, I think it's gross.
Yeah.
Like, how many people had to die for this wand? And he's like, oh, I really need my Phoenix Core wand this bad.
Totally.
You know, because where's the line? You know, I know Book Harry does draw a line. He does that and says he's going to get rid of it. But we actually don't see him get rid of it.
Yeah, no.
So, like, does he? Or does he find other little things like, oh, let me fix up the Hogwarts castle with it. Let me do this.
Yeah, because then he could start justifying, like, random things where it's like, well, this is for the greater good.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, he could easily become Dumbledore. And so I think just shutting that off at the outset, I honestly think
that's
on so many levels, it's so much more powerful.
Totally. And it's so wise for 18-year-old Harry to reach that point.
Yeah, I honestly, I think... You know, speaking of Messiah characters, like we did with Dune, Space Jesus.
We got Wizard Genius.
Evil Space Genius. Harry, I mean, he's definitely a Messiah, right?
100%.
He's definitely the boy who loved. More so in the movies, even, than the books.
Yeah.
Because it kind of washes away some of those other parts of him.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this is that perfect example of, like, doing just ultimately the biggest good you could.
Totally.
Yeah. But I get everyone wanting the wand, but I just think if you think about it,
yeah,
it was the right choice, y'all.
If we're thinking about the good for the greater good of the wizarding world, it was the move.
Yeah, and for his soul.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? For his soul.
For his soul.
Yeah. Okay, so we have one last one.
Okay.
All right. Because I don't know why. We didn't want to end on heavy, because it's actually, the order's kind of weird on this one. Hedwig! So in the movie, Harry, it is said that the Death Eaters figured out which of the Polyjuice potioned Harrys was the real Harry, because Hedwig was defending him. And Hedwig is killed with Vada Kedavra because he's trying to defend Harry. What do you... You know, in the books, that's not the case. Hedwig does die, but there's no, like, him trying to save Harry from a Death Eater. What do you kind of think of this little change?
I actually really love it.
I mean, who couldn't love it?
Because I remember reading the book initially, and I was like, wait, hold up.
It's like one line.
It's one line. And I mean, I know we lost a lot of people in the beginning, but Hedwig has been there since the beginning. And so I love the idea that it would make sense that Hedwig would die saving Harry.
Yeah, and it's still really quick, right? Because we just see him, like, talons out, launching out of Death Eater before he dies. And so it's still not taking up a lot of room, but it's just so powerful. And I think Hedwig's always been sassy.
Yeah.
Like in the books, it's always described like, because Harry couldn't let Hedwig out because the Dursleys are hoe-bags.
Yeah.
Okay? Hedwig's always like looking kind of angrily at Harry and stuff like, why can't I go out? Or like chirping like like sassy little bird. And so I think this is just so in character with him. Mm-hmm. And it was just really beautiful. It's a good change, y'all.
No, it's a good change. It's better than him dying being in a cage.
Yeah.
Because that also like makes me think of like how I'm just coming to this conclusion as I'm thinking about it, how he was trapped in a cage at the Dursleys and was like slowly dying in a sense of just like, I can't spread my wings, I can't be a bird, and it's like, oh, he died in that same sad depressing way.
That's not it. I don't like it.
I don't like it.
I don't like it.
No.
So I think the moral here though is, okay, so I'm not saying the movies are the best ever. I know there's issues.
There's issues, but
I talk about it all the time on TikTok. I got dragged.
Really?
For one of my most recent viral TikToks. Yeah. It was one where I was talking about how I don't think the movies make any damn sense without the books. Like, because I think your brain autofills in. Like, you're like, wait, was this book, was this movie? Like, it's just like, it's like a cohesive story, especially where we grew up.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think that's where most people are at.
Yeah, because there were things where I was like, oh, I thought this was in the movie because I can see it as if it happened, but it did not.
Yeah.
But like, there's a lot of things that are just never explained at all, like the mirror that Sirius gives him, and so like, that's never said, which is fine. But then in the last movie, he's like looking into the shard of a mirror because he broke it in the 5th movie, which was never shown. He's like looking into it, and like Albus Dumbledore's brother Aberforth sends Dobby to help him. Like you wouldn't know what was happening without the books. And so I said, I think a lot of people who think that they hate Harry Potter actually just think they hate it because the movies didn't make sense to them.
Totally.
And I had a lot of people agree with me, whatever. But then I had a lot of people who were like, you're being elitist. And I was like, bitch, I'm not saying the movies are bad. I still think they're a vibe.
No, the movies are fun, but it's like you
so funny.
It's not the first piece of media either. I mean, this happens a lot with like anime as well, where it's like, oh, if you didn't read the manga, you're gonna miss out on stuff that they didn't animate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not the first time in like any media where it's like, oh, if you're watching this thing because you didn't play the video game it's based off of or whatever, you're gonna miss context and things won't make sense.
It's fine. My beef is, how did they not figure that out when they were reading the scripts?
Yeah.
They could have added a quick line about that mirror.
Seriously.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it didn't need to be that confusing. Mm-hmm. I think they should have been able to stand alone. Mm-hmm. You know what? Whatever. Yeah, you can't film everything. That's not what I'm saying. My point is not that you have to film everything. But my point is, like, if suddenly something is relevant to the plot, you need to make sure I know what the fuck it is.
Yeah, and maybe part of the problem with that also is because when they started filming, the series wasn't complete.
It wasn't out. But I still think they could have added a line to fix it.
Totally.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
they were like, this
line.
doesn't make sense.
It's so annoying.
They could have...
they could have figured something
out. What is it called? Like, backtracked and, like, add a little context or something.
Yeah. You know? All they would have to be, like, and they could even change where the mirror came from. It wouldn't matter. But just, like...
Just how does Harry have this fucking mirror?
What the fuck is this? Like...
Who's this hoe?
Why does he have a piece of trash? Like, yeah, anyway, it's fine. But the moral here of this episode, I think, is, like, as fans, there's a lot that doesn't work in the movies. But I think we have to admit, like, I think the movies were artistic pieces on their own. And I know it upsets a lot of people that the interpretations of, like, Severus, which we didn't go into at all, but, like, and all the things we went through are different. Because they do affect the characters.
Totally.
But some of them made their emotional payoffs higher.
Mic drop.
Okay, so now we're going to go through some quick honorable mentions. Brought to you by Gillette.
Yeah,
we didn't introduce ourselves. Okay, whatever, it's fine. They know who we are.
They know who we are.
That's fine. Continue.
Hi. I could say it's just like, hi, it's Rachel, the host of Fan Corner. Yay! And then I'm Gillette, the co-host. Yay! There you go. So honorable mentions that, like, I thought of was in the first one was like in Prisoner of Azkaban, where they finally are all at school, and we get this quick shot of Ron, Harry, Neville, and
Dean.
No, was it Seamus?
I think it's Seamus and Dean, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe Dean's in there. I don't remember. But all, they all share a room. They're all roomies, and they are having a moment where they're just like hanging out, staying up late, eating their jelly beans that make them sound like animals, and it's this fun moment of just like kids being, teens.
Yeah.
And
the third movie is all vibes.
I love it.
The plot doesn't make sense, but it is good vibes.
Dude, it's my favorite movie because of how cinematic it is, but it's also my favorite book. But, I love how vibes it is. And so I just think that's a fun, cute little moment, A sad one is in the seventh Harry Potter book, we are told that Hermione obliterated her parents' memories. And then in the film, we see her actually do it. And it hurts. Harrowing. It hurts every time.
It was so well filmed.
Yeah, it was so well
Like, I could just die. It was so...
Yeah, no, I'm like about to tear up thinking about it. Instead of just being like, I obliterated my parents' memories, and they moved to Australia. Yeah. And whatever.
To be fair, it was done in a way to, like, tell Harry... we've been preparing for this. What do you mean you're just going to leave, you dumbass?
Yeah.
So it's still, like, cool because it shows the preparing. Mm-hmm. But just seeing that paw of hers.
It hurts. So
it was very well done.
It was a very impactful change because it would not have meant as much if we had Hermione just tell us that she did that, And then another honorable mention, last one we wrote down, is in the Deathly Hallows movie after Ron leaves and is being a bitch ass hoe, right? Obviously, Hermione's devastated, and so we get the cute, scene of Harry and Ron dancing and having a moment of positivity in while they're camping. And I know this is a favorite for a lot of people, and I love it because there's so much to be sad about. Yeah. And Harry is trying to be a good friend to Hermione and try to help her feel a little better.
Just for a moment, yeah.
For just a moment. And obviously Harry's sad too, like that Ron's gone. And the fact that they could...
Well, and they're sad because Harry didn't have the answers.
Yeah.
Like, Ron's yelling at him, like, we thought Dumbledore would have told you something, and it's like, well, he didn't. He fucking didn't. And, like, so it's bringing up stuff, like, Harry's already really upset and frustrated by, because he has been given a, frankly, impossible task, because Dumbledore's a hoe.
Yeah, seriously. And so, and I think the other reason why I like this scene so much is because also in the sixth movie, we see Harry and Hermione commiserating about, it's like, oh, Ginny's with Dean, and then, like, Ron's with Lavender, and so them kind of bonding over that shows them.
Harry goes into that room right before Hermione sends pigeons.
Yeah, iconic.
Amazing. At Ron's head. When he's in that room, he puts his arm around her, and I think it's really, their friendship in the movie is more beautiful.
No, for sure.
It's a more authentic friendship.
It's more authentic friendship, for sure.
Harry's so afraid of being between them in the books that even when Ron is actively being a problem, Harry won't take sides. And I'm not saying he has to be like, Ron, you're being a prat,
Yeah.
But, like, I think him putting his arm around her and showing, like, hey, I see you, I support you with these actions, I think are important. And I think it's the same with the dance moment. It's just this beautiful moment of friendship.
And it's something that we love to see, because, like, in the books we know they're friends, but we see more Ron and Harry's POV friendship, and so it's just so amazing to see he equally, like, cares about Hermione.
I think it was important.
It is so important.
And that song's a bop, so
it is.
There's that too.
Yes.
All right. So news for Fan Corner.
Yeah, what's some Fan Corner news?
Thanks for joining us for that part of the episode. So news for Fan Corner. I'm going to be at WonderCon in Anaheim in just a few weeks here. So it's very exciting. And then we are officially booked for LeakyCon. If you're going, or if you know someone who's going, be like, go check out Fan Corner. I'll be there in July.
Amazing.
One time we should do, like, a live podcast or something.
I know, that would be
fun. This wasn't the year, but no.
Third time's the charm. Maybe LeakyCon next year.
I'm trying to go to a few other ones, but haven't heard back yet.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens, but I will at least be at those two. And which I'm really excited about. The surprise leaf figurines are out. They're about to be their wedding versions as well. So or jewelry. Yeah. So that'll be really exciting. And then a Hugsy is about to come out. A little Hugsy miniature.
Cute.
Yeah, Hugsy is an icon. I love him so much.
What about some ducks?
The ducks! Great one. I've been working my ass off, guys. There's been a lot happening. Okay, so except not on the podcast, but everywhere else. So I designed these little, because there's that really funny little. Okay, so actually, here's how it came about.
Story time.
Okay, so I was like, when kids come up to my booth at conventions, there's not a lot for them to. They love my stuff, but there's not a lot. I'll give them. I have these like resin, like more durable, like hand poured resin, like frogs, chocolate frogs that they'll hold. But I don't have much for them to touch or hold because it's just like they're fragile miniatures.
Yeah.
Whatever. And so it's like not really child appropriate. Like I don't want them putting their like if they were to put it in their mouth, like these aren't toys, right? Yeah. So I was like, man, I wish there was something I could bring because like a lot of people will just buy up from China like stuffed animals like ferrets and put like a Slytherin scarf on it, which is funny for Draco. Like I get what they're doing, or just like things for kids to buy like that. But I'm a handmade business, so it's not my vibe. But I was thinking like, and also if everyone's doing stuffed animals, I don't want to do stuffed animals.
Right.
Maybe my own designs one day, but that's like too much right now.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, what if they were like rubber ducks? And I thought of that quote where it's like, because I thought of that Arthur quote, what exactly is the purpose of a rubber duck?
Yeah.
And so I bought all these rubber ducks and I'm adding little glasses and the scar. So they're the ducky who lived. And kids have something to pick up at my booth that's like not very much money. Yes, I only added a little bit of paint, but that's exactly why. It's not very much money.
Yeah. But it's still adorable.
But it's so cute because, and it's like themed, like, you know what I mean? And so then to go with it, I was like, man, wouldn't it be cute if we could do all these different kinds of ducks? So I've gone through and designed a bunch of different ducks, like characters like Dumby Duck and like
Luna Duck.
Yeah, like they're very cute.
Myrtle Duck.
So I have a sticker sheet coming, and then I didn't do all of them yet as individuals, but Dumby Duck is getting made and Myrtle Duck is getting made.
Awesome.
So it's like Depressy Duck. It's fine.
Dude, it's great. She has a little aura around her, so she's Ghosty Duck.
I had to work on that for so long because I was like, how do I know that she's like a...
Yeah, like a ghost.
Yeah, my stupid ass boyfriend, because he's not read the books.
Wait, for real?
For real. I know. Bitch, I know. He's on a wait list, to be fair, on Libby. But still.
Whatever.
He only does audio because I'm like, here, read this. He's like, I'll never read them.
No, I understand, but no.
So when he saw Moni Myrtle Duck, he was like, who the fuck is this? Like he like didn't get it until I said it, and then he was like, yeah, maybe I'll take people a minute to get it. And I was like, oh no, like I didn't do good enough. But everyone else I've shown it to has known exactly.
Because you sent it to me and you're like, who is this? I'm like, that's Myrtle.
Yeah, you were like, how is this a question? I thought it was really funny. So yeah, the ducks are coming out like here really soon. Mm-hmm. So I've been working my ass off actually.
Yeah.
And then dragons are going to be in the next month or two. They're quite difficult. We're having troubles with them because we're trying to make them have a feather tail.
Okay.
And that is proving to not be easy.
Still, exciting things always coming out of Fan Corner.
I know. So support us, buy us, follow us, share, like, comment, subscribe. You know the things, y'all. You know the things.
Come for us in the comments. Talk to us.
Yes, always come for us in the comments. If there's anything different you want to see on the show or ideas you have, let us know. Yeah. But we will see you again soon. We're I'm not gonna promise anything because then I'll jinx us.
Yeah, totally. And so, as Rachel always loves to say, have a very magical